Welcome to the second episode of me going over Reddit. I am pumped! I'm excited! Yeah! Yeah! Okay. Uh, okay. Here's one thing I go with first. Am I the asshole for asking my daughter to stop complaining about her life? She chose it. My daughter, Gina, who's 38, left her husband, Dan, who's 40, for a younger and more exciting man from her work. They broke up. When she got hit with a condo levy, she asked him to help pay for since he was living with her. He declined since he wasn't on the deed. He said he didn't mind paying rent, but the maintenance was on the owner. They fought, and that was that. She ended up having to sell the condo. It was too expensive for her alone, but it was something she fought for in the divorce. That was 6 years ago, and she finally burned through the money from the sale. We told her to buy something smaller in a different neighborhood, but she insisted that she needed to live there so his kids' lives wouldn't be disrupted. Sorry, but some of the way it's typed out. It's a bit of a longer entry. In the meantime, our son-in-law remarried to a lovely girl, Madison. She's about 27 or 28, and their grandchildren like her, and she is always very pleasant when they speak. She's pregnant, and the kids are excited for a new sibling. My daughter's back living with us. All she does is work and complain. She has to work too much. She can't meet good men. This new woman stole her life. It never stops. My wife is always commiserating with her about how she is so hard done by. I just keep my mouth shut. Madison came by yesterday to pick up the kids. After she left, my daughter went off again. She was driving a new car. They got since her old car would be impractical for a family of 5 to drive around in. The kids ran out to see and check out all the bells and whistles. Gina didn't even say hello. After Madison and the kids left, she started whining again. Now about how she can't afford a new car. I couldn't help it. I told her she made her choice to give up the life she had for something different, and that choices have consequences. She literally ran crying to her room and felt like shit. Her mom scolded me for being harsh. I apologized for saying what I said and honestly feel bad about it, but I think she needs to stop complaining about her life since she chose it. I say definitely, it's like hearing the backstory, going through the backstory here, I can see why, there's a harsher tone to it, but at the same time, saying that's pretty harsh. I'm going to say, just for that statement, probably the asshole on that one. I say it in the lightest way. Like, there's harsher asshole ones on here, and I don't really feel like this is. I mean, you can just go up and simply say sorry, and that'd probably help. But there's other ones that they just can't say sorry about. Some of the ones I've read through, and this one seems very much on a lighter scale on some of these. So, yeah, I'm gonna say asshole. Oh no, let's see what they say. Not the asshole. Your daughter's 38 and is old enough to hear the truth. You don't need to use kids' gloves anymore with her. Okay, that's one. I mean, due to her life choices and stuff, the fact she whines a lot probably doesn't do her any favors. So, and the fact that she made certain decisions that seem very questionable. I see, I guess, why they're starting to go this not the asshole thing. Okay, not the asshole. Reality checks suck when they're cashed in. I do wonder if there's any other motivation for why Gina left Dan in the first place, though. Not the asshole, she's 38, not 5. She needs to grow up and realize that her actions have consequences. She left her husband for something new and shiny, and it turned to crap on her. The new woman didn't steal anything, and she sounds sweet. Okay, yeah. Not the asshole, I'm sure Madison is very grateful for the choices Gina has made. Okay. Yeah, interesting perspectives, Like I said, I'm kind of playing this from observation and, seeing what Reddit decides to. Okay, what's the next one? Okay, this one's a long one. Okay. Am I the asshole for not moving out of a property that my parents gave me so that my golden child sister and her husband and kid could move in? Okay. Interesting. Interesting title. Okay. My 34-year-old sister and 30 oh my 34. Oh, my supposed to be like me. It's 34, and her sister is like 31. I'm assuming that's what little typo here. Uh, was the first among 4 siblings to have a kid. My niece is incredibly spoiled by my sister. Our parents and extended family and parents bend over backwards for my sister's requests. Like, for example, canceling their anniversary trip because my sister asked to babysit while she goes on the girls' weekend. This spring, my boyfriend and rock in my life passed away. At the same time, I lost my job. I had a lot going on and moved back to my hometown. My parents own a rural property they used to rent out. The property has been empty for a while and fairly run down. My parents invited me to stay there, rent free. Told me it was my home for as long as I needed. I invested a lot of my time and money, found a remote gig apparently, into getting the house fixed up. So I also made friends with Oala, a Ukrainian refugee with a young daughter. Oala was struggling, and I invited her to stay with me for a couple of months while she gets back on her feet. She was very thankful, but hasn't made a firm response yet, as she's trying to make things work independently. Okay. My parents had no issue with this. Until recent drama, my brother-in-law had been working for a shady company which skirted regulations for profit. The law had to catch up with the owner, who folded the company and left the country. Left the country. I have a canker sore in my mouth. It's fudging with me a little bit. I'll cut this short given the post character limit. A few other things went down. My sister's family abruptly moved to our hometown, moving in with my parents. I do see aspects of this story where, I don't know if as many details need to be given, to get the story across. I feel like some aspects are a little bit dragged out in the story, but I'm going to continue here. Almost immediately, my parents and sisters approached me to swap. I move in with our parents and sis and her family take my place. They said the house I lived in was too large for one person. It would be so much better for my niece to live on a beautiful property in nature. I didn't understand. My parents have 2 guest rooms, my sister and the kid bedrooms. I sure didn't at 5. My brother-in-law is still loaded from his old job and could easily get them a place too. They are buying a flashy car. When I mentioned my work on the property, it was dismissed. When I reminded them about Oala, my parents were outraged, and I was still intent on helping someone else and their child, and not my own sister and niece. They kept making out my sister's situation to be nearly as bad as Oala's. Eventually, it came down to my parents saying, "You're living on our property. You'll do as we want." I said, "Well, you gave it to me." I said, "This was my house as well, to my home for as long as I needed. But if we want to talk property terms and not family terms, evict me then." My parents are not evicting, but I received daily calls and messages from them, extended family guilt tripping, and calling me the asshole for not giving up the more comfortable space to my sister, who is in such a difficult situation and has a little child. Only my brothers see my side, but since they're young men in college and their opinion means nothing to my family. Oh, okay. I'm kind of looking at this as an outsider's perspective. Uh, huh. The parents allowed her to be on the property as long as she needed, and she still needs it. Now they're changing the terms. But from what I gather, the parents, that's pretty much they're running the property. From what I gather, like I don't completely understand if she's paying rent or like like if she. I mean, she must be. I'm assuming probably putting money into the place, like paying for rent or doing some kind of help around that, so that she's bringing something to the table. Because she said in the post that she's done like renovations of some kind. So I was trying to think where Reddit's gonna go because I have not looked at Reddit, but where I kind of want to go is not the asshole, because changing the guidelines on somebody like that is a bit much, and there is still probably more space that can be given to probably the sister and brother-in-law or something like that. Let's see what they said here. What the hell is EH? Huh. What the hell is EH? I thought it was AH or ESH. Oh, let's see. Okay. Well, I guess that's calling the person the a-hole, I guess. Um, it's the parents' property. They've apparently not given it to you in any real, definitive legal sense. They should definitely compensate you for fixing it up, though. That's what ESH means. Got to look that up somewhere. It's like a middle ground. What the hell? Or is it like you're both a-holes? I don't know. You make a lot of fuss about your sister and niece being spoiled, but you're leeching off your parents just like she would if she lived in the house instead. It's obnoxious of them to try to throw you out when they told you that you could stay for there as long as you wanted, but it's their property. Seems like you could stand to grow up and pay for your own housing instead of squabbling over mom and dad's resources. I do need a little bit more context with aspects of the story, because I thought like there was a payment kind of thing going on. Mostly because I assume like by putting money in to fix the house up, there's other aspects that was also being paid. But maybe it's just one of those deals where that payment, the rent, is not part of that, and then I can start to see it, why the decision was made. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It's kind of a mixed thing a little bit. Mixed guideline. This one's a little bit mixed. Okay, I'm gonna try to choose another one here. Okay, here we go. Am I the asshole for calling my sister's kid a spoiled, entitled brat? I'm a 34-year-old female, and I have an older sister who's 37-year-old female named Annie. She has 3 kids: Jacqueline, 12, female; Jasmine, 10, female; and Vincent, 9, male. Out of her 3 kids, she makes it incredibly obvious that Vincent is her favorite. She never ever pushes him, and always lets him get his way. And I'm assuming that is why he is so entitled. Okay. Brattiness can come from over entitlement. I get that. Uh, she recently got divorced with her now ex-husband and has been staying with me so I could help support her. I watch her kids for free while she's working, and it hasn't been the easiest. I'm a stay-at-home mom with 2 kids, 8 female and 6 female. So when she's at work, I'll be watching over 5 kids. Jacqueline has honestly been a big help though. She's a well-mannered and always helps around the house. Okay, so one of the kids is really, really, very nice. Okay. On Wednesday, I was watching her kids while she was working. It was around lunch, and I was going to make everyone peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when Jasmine came to me complaining about Vincent trying to rip up my daughter's Uno cards after a match. I followed Jasmine to her room where Vincent was looking really angry and trying to tug some Uno cards out of my daughter's hands. Okay, so Vincent's being really rude with Uno cards. Okay. I asked Vincent why he was doing this, and he just burst into tears. My daughter explained to me that they were just playing a match, and then Vincent ended up losing. I tried to explain to him it was okay and that he lost, but he can play more rounds to get better. Vincent really got mad and stormed out of the room. While babysitting him, I've noticed that he can't stand losing. His anger issues is extremely picky and must get what he wants. I want to continue working on sandwiches because I thought he should take some alone time to cool down. When I finished making lunch, I called the kids over to eat. When Vincent came over, I expected him to be happy about lunch because I had everyone vote for something, and he voted for PB&J. It turns out he was not happy. I had forgotten to cut the crust off. He started screaming at me. I should have cut the crust off the bread because I should know that he doesn't like it. Okay. Very entitled behavior from the kid. I do remember back when I was a kid, I was a little bit bratty, but I don't think I was ever that level, where I was just like my way to the highway. Like, I was always learning like there was room to improve, kind of logic. Um, Okay, let's continue. Tried to stay calm and told him I would just cut it off. He said no and threw the plate and sandwich on the wall. I was absolutely furious, and it looked like the 9-year-old was equally furious as I was. I started yelling at him, but Jacqueline pulled him away to the room before things could escalate further. The other kids ate while I cleaned up the glass and food on the floor. When he got home, I told her I didn't want to babysit her kids anymore unless she started paying me. This was just one of the incidents, and also the worst. And he said no. This made me pretty mad, and I told her that her son was spoiled and entitled brat. And he just went to her room, shut the door, and hasn't spoken to me a lot since. Am I the asshole? Okay, I don't think this person's the asshole. The kid should understand manners and be raised to understand manners. If the kid's behaving this way, I kind of look at the person raising the kid, saying, hey, aren't you getting the guidelines across on some level, Because spoiledness doesn't just, at least in my opinion, doesn't just form out of nowhere, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to say not the asshole, Don't get me wrong, it sounds like a tense situation where it could have gone like a little bit off the rails, but not the asshole for the way that came across. I'm just gonna go not the asshole. So here's a response from one, not the asshole. And he said no. Lol, she can look for another babysitter in another home then. Not the asshole, you called it as you see it. But getting paid isn't going to make the situation better. The kid probably needs therapy. Family therapy would be in order as well, as the issues are systematic. I agree completely with that on a level that there's something family-wise that needs to be addressed or fixed. And if they're not going to try to take that step, then they're going to need like some kind of help doing that, because that behavior cannot continue. Should not be encouraged, and should not be encouraged to continue. Okay, next one. I'm gonna build water today. Just kind of. I can't keep that. I can't keep that on my tongue. Gotta bring a mouthwash and shit. Eh. I don't know why I did that. Okay, we're gonna go on to another one here. This one's a weird one. Weird title. Okay. Am I the asshole for telling a woman off for bringing her grandfather in to use my bodega's bathroom every day? I, a 20 male, work part-time at a bodega as I go to university. Since it's summer and the next semester won't be starting for another month, I'm working a lot more hours. I got this job through a family friend, and I enjoy working here a lot. As my hours went up in the summer, I started to notice that a middle-aged woman would visit the shop with her grandfather multiple times a day. She would immediately usher him to the bathroom as fast as a man in his 80s or 90s could move, where he would do his business and they would leave without buying anything. This issue, this is, okay, let me just reread that. The issue is that he pisses all over the floor. I'm talking about the Mississippi River level of urine across the floor, and I have to clean it up every time. It's absolutely disgusting in an otherwise clean bathroom. I've explained the situation to the owner. He told me we couldn't refuse to allow customers to use the bathroom legally. When I asked what we should do instead, he shrugged and said that there's nothing we can do about it. Well, yesterday the woman came in when I was working, of course, dragging her grandfather along at a busy hour in front of a bunch of customers. I loudly said something along the lines of, "Can you stop using our bathroom because you don't want to clean up Grandpa's mess? It's effing disgusting, and you should be ashamed of yourself." The woman looked at me in shock and ushered him out. I figured I'd handle the situation. There she came back, though, and shrieked at me and how she's the only person her grandfather has, and how she had to quit her job to take care of him. I told her to calm down or leave, to which she responded, "You're effing asshole, and I have no idea what it's like to take care of another person." She stormed out before I could say anything. I just wonder if I owe her an apology here or not. Yeah, I definitely see an owing her an apology thing. I definitely consider you the a-hole in the story. Mostly because, like, can't refuse someone the bathroom. And it's an older person, and is what it is. It's an inconvenience, but an inconvenience is life. And certain jobs have continuous inconveniences. Uh, it's just how it is. And yeah, I definitely see this person being an a-hole and should provide an apology of some kind. So let's see what Reddit says. Okay. Not the asshole. If she's dragging a 90-year-old with negligible motor skills down the street several times a day to use the bathroom. She's not taking care of them. Neglectful, dangerous, and suspicious. As a matter of fact, call Adult Protective Services. Oh. Huh. Uh. Going against the grain here and vote not assholes of public shaming would be the only thing that keep this woman from using you to clean up her father's mess several times a day. She knows very well what she's doing. I also believe that she's forcing her elderly father out of their home several times a day just so she could bring him to a bathroom that she does not have to clean is not good for the father either. I didn't think of it like that, but that's a good point. I mean, it is several times throughout a day, and that can be a little bit ridiculous too. Wow. Not the a-hole. If she didn't want to be embarrassed, she should learn to clean up her grandpa's piss. Huh. Well, went a different direction there. I didn't. It's tough to predict where Reddit will go with uh, aspects of it, with some of them, because like I think one way and Reddit has a different way of thinking about it, and yeah, it is what it is. Okay, here's one here. Am I the asshole for walking out my brother's wedding when he asked for money? To give context, my brother and I were always good friends, but my parents favored him over me. He was the star football player in high school and always got the best grades. Where I wrestled and joined the Marines after high school to pay for my college. Ooh. He never really had things handed to him, but it came easy to him. He was the only one who came and saw me when I graduated boot camp and was the one there when I come home from deployments. He truly is my best friend. Fast forward a few years and I'm now out of the Marines. I'm a single dad and lost a leg while overseas. My brother has been the biggest help for me. So when he asked me to be his best man, I immediately said yes, even though I didn't approve of his wife. I want to support him like he did me. After the ceremony, me and him sat and talked. He got weird and began talking about money. It's a subject that we never discussed before because he never wanted to drive a wedge between us. He claimed the wedding had put him $20,000 in debt and he needs help. At first, I was more than happy to help until he said he wants me to pay it all, and our parents agreed. Oh, $20,000? Like, if it was like, I don't know. I feel like if it was like anywhere between like low to $100 for like showing up or something, or like like something to help out with, like maybe some groceries or something like that. I don't know. For ceremony, but $20,000? That's a lot. That could be money for a car. Okay, yeah, okay. I was genuinely confused and irritated. It wasn't my wedding. It was his. I reminded him, and he then brought up how he was always there for me when no one else was. Ooh, gaslighting. Strong gaslighting going on here. While true, I was hurt, but still felt no obligation to give him that much money for two reasons. One, I didn't have that much money, even to my name, and two, it wasn't my responsibility to pay for his wedding. He got up and left, leaving me there to think, so I made my decision to leave and cut ties with him and my family from that point forward. This was last Saturday, and the feeling of guilt has really started to grip me, but also I'm extremely hurt by him. So am I the asshole? I'm going to say no. They asked a lot of money from you, and it's not even your wedding, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, like, if it was like a small scale amount of money, just to help, I bet, I could see, like, this person doing it, but, like, this is $20,000, dear God, you know? Take a loan from a bank or something, like, no. Don't start pushing it. That's pushing it. It's definitely pushing it. Okay. And here's a comment. Hold up. You're a single dad, and you're disabled, and your whole family thinks you should cover a $20K wedding for your brother to a woman you don't even like? What's wrong with them? You're not the asshole. Cut them all off and take care of you and your child. Thank you for your service. That's what I'm going to see. Okay. And then there's a commenter here named Jupiter235. My favorite part is how the parents just volunteered OP's money to the brother just like that. No prior discussion, no finding out whether or not the OP even had the money. No, they just decided to give away OP's money, and then the brother just expects OP to quietly comply with the whole arrangement. OP, I'm sorry, you're being put through this. You're definitely not the asshole. Yeah, not the asshole. Definitely not the asshole. The whole situation is fudged up, just in general. Like, nobody has say to one's money except yourself, Like, your money, your rules. Fundamental. Logic people sometimes. They think that they're entitled to things, and they're not. Yeah, I do find that a bit ridiculous. So I completely understand that one. Okay, let's go scroll down here. Got a few more I want to read before ending this podcast episode. Let's see. Okay. This one's a really short one. Am I the asshole for telling my son's dad he had no business meddling in my divorce? Well, from the title, I guess I shouldn't have any room meddling in it. I recently got divorced from my second husband, Grayson. I was married to Jack before, and we have a 9-year-old son. My marriage to Grayson ended on a sour note, and he moved back to Oregon. I found that the day before he left, he had spent the entire day with my 9-year-old Grayson, who had asked me if that was okay, and I said no. I want to move on, so he waited until Jack had our son. Jack said sure. I was pissed off. Jack said our son deserved a proper goodbye, and Grayson never did anything to him. I said you weren't married to him. I don't want him in my life, and all you did was keep him there after I said it wasn't okay with him spending time with our son. Ooh, this is more complicated. More complicated. Okay, this is a bit to think about. That's tricky. Tricky because of the kids and stuff like that. I'm gonna say not the asshole, mostly because, like, don't get me wrong, that's something to probably explain to the kid, but it's not really the son's dad's right to push something like that. Relationships are a different category. So I'm going to say not the asshole. Oh, I fudged that one up. Yeah, I think, okay, I can see why you got divorced twice. You're the asshole for denying Grayson what was probably a simple goodbye. Yeah, I didn't think about the aspect of the kid needing a simple goodbye and that push. Yeah, I'm starting to see how that would probably be asshole category. You're the asshole. It really hurts that you haven't once talked about how your son feels in all this. Yeah, kind of came across offended in the whole thing, in the way the structure of this. I'm doing some reconsidering here. But also, he didn't meddle in your divorce. He made sure your son could see your soon-to-be ex-husband one last time? Also, why are your two exes behaving more maturely than you? Shaking my head. Well, yeah, they don't sound like they seem pretty chill from the post. And the way she's approaching it is very angry and heated. So, uh, sometimes I try to, you know, see what perspective Reddit has, but I don't know. I lean one way and Reddit could probably lean another. I don't know. Playing this game of reading Reddit for a podcast. What am I doing? Okay. Okay, here's one. Okay. Am I the asshole for trying to stop my wife from making a bad decision and protect my daughter from humiliation? My wife, 28 female, and I, 33 male, are pregnant with our second child. What, you're both pregnant? Kidding. They're pregnant with a second child. Our first child was a boy, and we named him after my uncle. Now, it's important to know that my uncle is like a father to me because my real dad was in and out of jail my whole childhood. Excuse me. My wife loves my uncle, and they are very close too. Both of us happen to like my uncle's name, and since we found out our first kid was a boy, we thought, why not honor this man who we both love so much? We just found out that our second baby will be a girl, and my wife wants to name the new baby after her mom. Well, the problem is that her mom's name was Karen. I don't want to do this to my baby girl because of all those horrible stereotypes and jokes about the name Karen. Yeah, it's going around anymore. It's like, oh, I don't want to be a Karen. Oh, you're a Karen? Yeah, I'd probably follow it with today's day and age because of all that Karen stuff online and stuff. I can understand that a bit. We're both white, and our daughter will obviously be white as well, so I think that makes it even worse. I told my wife I won't name our baby Karen, and she told me she really wants to honor her mother like they honored the uncle. I told her it was different. My uncle has a normal name unlike Karen, which is basically an insult punchline. My wife says lots of people are named Karen. And that's true. A lot of people are, and it's perfectly fine that people are named Karen, you know. She thinks it's a beautiful name, and we'll teach our daughter to be kind to others so it doesn't matter. And she wants one of her kids' names to have a connection to her mom. I said that she's behaving like an idiot, okay, for pretending it doesn't matter. Plus, her mother died when my wife was a teenager, so I have never met this woman, so I don't feel comfortable naming my daughter after her. My wife said I was an asshole for calling her an idiot, even though I didn't actually call her an idiot. Rewind the conversation. I think you called her an idiot there somewhere. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I said she was behaving like an idiot for pretending it doesn't matter. It's calling somebody an idiot, basically. Uh, I had to scroll up to find it, but yeah, you did kind of call her an idiot. I only said that about the way she was behaving. Behaving like an idiot and calling somebody an idiot, aren't those a little bit similar guidelines? I'll suggest that we use Karen as a middle name, but she didn't, and said that she's a mother, so her opinion is more important. She also said that since she allowed me to choose her son's name, that I should let her choose one name, even though we both like my uncle's name and agreed to it. And since both kids will have my last name, since I am the dad, it's not fair to her family. So am I the asshole for trying to save my unborn baby from a life of misery being teased at school? I guess I could have been more polite, but she's being really unreasonable, and I can't let her do this to my daughter. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see this person being an asshole. The poster here. Mostly due to calling her an idiot. And then, like, you know, I get trying to save a kid from bullying, but at the same time, it's not like you're naming the kid something really ridiculous. It's an average name. Karen's an average name, you know? And kids will bully other kids for just about anything. So, to be really rude, you know? And, you know, this woman should have the right to name the child Karen. I think definitely the person who posted is the a-hole, from what I'm reading. It's just an extreme take, and the name is fine, even though that is a trend now to be like, oh, that's a Karen, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. It's an average name. It's a fine name. Could even just go by nicknames too, you know? Like, could name the person Karen, but could give her like a nickname that you always call her. Like, legally can be named Karen, and, you know, call her by a nickname. Give her a nickname. Let somebody else give her a nickname, you know? A chill nickname that she can go by. And I guess both sides wins, because the mother gets the, you know, the legal name Karen to honor the mother, and the dad gets the opportunity to maybe help with the nickname, you know, the cool nickname to give the kid, that, you know, because everybody's got nicknames, or at least I had a nickname, you know. I know a few other people that had nicknames, so maybe that helped the problem. Like I said, the poster is the a-hole, and I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, okay. Reddit seems to be on the same side. You're the asshole for so many reasons. Okay? Here's three reasons why they're listing why the person's the a-hole. The mother died when my wife was a teenager, so I never met the woman, so I don't feel comfortable naming my daughter after her. It's important to your wife. Who cares if you met the woman? Yeah. You know, just because you didn't meet her doesn't mean that she wasn't important in that person's life, you know? And so, like what kind of argument is that, you know? Like, well, I never met this person, so how dare you? No. Two, Karen is a completely normal name. You're being weird. Yeah, I mean, it's a fine name. Even though it's a trend now to use the Karen term in a way that's not great, you can do that with pretty much any name. So, it doesn't really matter, that argument. Three, instead of having an adult conversation, you went into name calling and attacking your wife. Yeah, pretty rude. That's what made me lean towards it, definitely, was how rude the approach was. You know? Okay. Okay. Okay, here we go. Am I the a-hole for leaving a nasty Airbnb review? Really nasty one. My husband and I stayed in an Airbnb while visiting my sister and her family. I made dinner our last night for everyone at the Airbnb. It was an outdoor area and we grilled. It was 5 people total and it was 4 adults and a 7-year-old. My husband gets random... Okay, that's a typo. It says calk, but I'm going to assume they meant to type call on his phone. And the Airbnb people said no parties on their listing. This is dinners with family. We have some words with the owner, including calling him a creeper. We called Airbnb and they really didn't handle it. And the owner tried charging. Okay, so it's changing, but charging us $500 for a party. This argument goes on the. We left him a 1-star review and called him a spine creep, getting his listing taken off the site. We complained and filed fraud charges on what? We complained and filed fraud charges on the card. Okay, and getting the whole amount of money back. It was a freaking process for sure because we filed a police report on the creepy spying host. I get he might want to have cameras outside, but who actually watched the family eating and grilling? It's still an issue, and he hasn't had account reinstated, and he sent us emails trying to explain the situation, and we are putting him out of income. I might be an asshole because I told him maybe he could get a job in the CIA since he likes spying so much, and he's now threatening to sue over this. Okay, first of all, I'm assuming that there's some guidelines that was probably present in the Airbnb aspect, and the fact there's cameras outside, probably very observable cameras, that of course the person's probably looking in on them because they set it up so that they can observe. As long as they're not in the crappers or anything like that, I can kind of see where the person's coming from and just making sure that there's no questionable things going on by the people that are being allowed to use Airbnb space. I'm going to say the a-hole. Definitely this person's the a-hole because of the approach. Like, it's a real, I'm getting a real Karen sense from this person. I know, the prior one, I was going on about how Karen's an average name and blah, 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 and I just ruined it by just saying that, but this person's giving me Karen vibes. You know, complaining, can I speak to your manager vibes. I'll just say that instead. This person gives me complaining, I'll speak to your manager vibes. So, I'm going to go with asshole. This person's the asshole. Okay, I need to learn what ESH is. What the hell is ESH? Technically, having guests over is against the rules for almost every single Airbnb listing. Okay. I'm not sure if he stated it explicitly in the listing, but the standard is essentially expected. Similarly, almost every listing will say that there are security cameras in outdoor spaces. However, he also had no reason to make a big deal about it. From what you said, if he's got a complaint, then he certainly does. The review was probably too harsh. He's not spying on you for looking as outdoor security cameras. That's what security cameras are for. He wasn't watching you grilling and eating. He looked at the cameras and saw 7 people when he rented the 2. Now this was warranted, the scene he made about it, nor the nuclear option you took. I think ESH is basically calling them both kind of a-holes or something. So you're all assholes. Okay, respectfully. Okay, so they're kind of just, there's some that are just saying like, okay, all assholes. So they both took an extreme approach. So I see it, yeah. You know, sometimes they decide where it's both. You know. Oh. Some of these ones I'm reading, I'm like, oh geez. Okay, I'm trying to think. Oh god, I'm going to edit that out. Okay. Oh, sorry. And focus. Am I the asshole for getting mad when I found out my wife gossiped about me? Sorry for the throwaway account. I'm 36 and my wife Ashley is 33. To get this out of the way, I have an above average sized willy whacker. Okay? Yeah, talking about his willy whacker. Okay, I'm not going to the Guinness World Records or anything, but every partner I've had remarks on it. Okay. Okay, this seems kind of sus already when you open up with willy talk, but okay, continue. In the past, this has also meant that every single one of them tells their friends, and gossip gets around. This makes me extremely uncomfortable to the point that I had to start telling anyone new, do not talk about my willy whacker to your friends. They all agree, and then they all do it anyway. It's very frustrating. Until I met my now wife, who is totally respectful of that boundary. We have been together for 6 years and married for 3. No kids yet. You probably see where this is going. We were with some of our close girlfriends at a bar last night, and I suggested we go to another pub. And our friend, semi-drunk, responds, "If Big Willie says we go, we go." Ashley froze up, and I went cold. Turns out that she told all her close friends that we met right after I told her not to, and now they use Big Willie or BD in their group chat to refer to me. Ashley says they only say when I do something worthy of the name. I don't even know what that means, and I don't want to, so I left them and went home. Ashley was apologetic for at first, but kind of thought it was funny, and I figured it out, and only learned how angry I was after I literally walked out of the bar. He says I'm overreacting, that when she talks about other friends, it's totally normal. And I don't care how normal it is, but I can't trust her anymore. Am I the asshole? Okay, this one's a little bit tricky. I mean, people are gossipers. There's plenty of people that are gossipers. Um, Gossip's very, it's normal. But, making it blunt, saying it to his face, not very great. I guess say, not the asshole here, set the boundaries, but it was disrespected. I'm going to say not the asshole for that. And I feel like there's some aspects of this was gaslighting, you know? Like, by saying that he's overreacting and, just kind of pushing him to feel like, oh, he's stupid for even, being embarrassed when he has every right to feel that way because he set the boundary and it was broken. I don't know. I'm gonna say not the asshole. No. Yeah, I see one here saying not the asshole here, but also, it's a normal thing to gossip. It's basically a thing. Girl talk is very inevitable. Uh, People do share intimate details about things. I've seen this. So that's a thing. People say a little bit too much. Everybody says too much. This day and age. So, not the asshole seems like to be the what I'm seeing here. So, yeah. Oh, snap in my neck. Okay, I'm going to read 2 more and give my opinions on those, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Okay? Okay. Let's get into the last 2 here. Am I the asshole for asking an annoying pest of a waiter to leave us alone during a serious conversation? My mom and I decided to have a heartfelt conversation while enjoying dinner at a local restaurant. We were discussing some deeply personal matters, and I needed a quiet, private environment. However, the entire experience got derailed due to a persistent and annoying waiter. At first, the waiter seemed friendly, which we appreciated. But as our conversation progressed, it was like they transformed into an annoying pest. They kept interrupting us, demanding our attention by asking how the food tasted, attempted to upsell us on various items, and hovering around our table. Their consistent interruptions were becoming incredibly grating. I think that this person, from what I'm reading so far, I'm thinking that this waiter was trying to get a better tip by coming across as more invested in serving the person, but it seems to have had the opposite effect. Like I've seen waiters that have done the exact opposite. Like I'm lucky to get their attention if I wave my arm up in the air and be like, "Hey, I want service, please," and they'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna serve the person behind you now." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" It'd be like an hour before they come with my check, and I'm like, "Okay, okay, you need to get me another water. Thanks a lot," you know. But yeah, from what I'm seeing here is a little bit too much effort from the waiter. So that's, yeah. At one point, I decided to take a stand. I politely, albeit firmly, asked the waiter not to come back to our table unless we explicitly signaled to them. I explained that our conversation was important and that their persistent interruptions were disruptive. They seemed taken aback, but they did give us some space for a brief period. I kind of wonder what the approach was. Hopefully the approach wasn't really too rude in the effort of being like, "Ah, what the? Back off! I'll signal when I'm ready." Hopefully it was nothing like that level of extreme. It was more like, hopefully, like, "Oh, can you give us some space? We need some space. Can you give us something like that?" Hopefully it was more, because sometimes the approach can just completely just. Okay. However, the waiter apparently complained to the manager about my request for some peace and quiet. The manager came to our table to address the situation. While the manager was understanding, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being treated as the bad guy here. Am I the asshole for telling the annoying pest of a waiter to leave us alone during a serious conversation? Could I have handled this a little differently? Was my plea for some understanding and space reasonable considering the circumstances? I'm gonna say not the asshole because as a restaurant and stuff, yeah, you want to have a discussion, but actually, is a restaurant the best place for a serious discussion? I'm just thinking about this like in general. Uh, I kind of think that kind of okay, I can see both sides of this. I'm gonna decide on one or the other, but okay, here's how I see of not the asshole. Like, you're out eating and you're talking to somebody, and it's an important conversation. So like, you want to focus on that conversation, and and you want the waiter to come around when you're ready. When you want things to be that way. But from my experiences with whenever I go out, it's not the best place to really have a serious conversation, in my opinion. It's not a restaurant where there's servers coming around and all other people yapping. It just kind of ruins the serious conversation, in my opinion, because you got other voices in the back, you got people in the front, they're talking, and then you got a waiter trying to probably, sell up the food and try to make sure that are you being served, are you good, do you want anything else, kind of stuff. So you'll have those constant interruptions. And to basically go to a restaurant and then say, um, serve me, but when I want you to serve me, you know, I'm gonna say, yeah, but this is a tricky one. This is actually a tricky one. I'm not sure which direction Reddit's gonna go. I'm gonna do the middle ground. They're both kind of the a-holes. I'm just gonna go the middle ground here because I've been seeing that as an option. So I'm going to try that and see what they get. But uh, I gotta say the waiter might have been a little bit too pushy, but the reaction and the place might have been a little bit too much. So they're both kind of hitting around the same category. Both the assholes. I'll go with that. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I see one saying it's not the asshole. You were polite. No idea why the waiter escalated it to his manager. And I see a comment here. They had to protect themselves in case a person complains they weren't attentive enough because they told them to go away. Okay, this was a long one. You're the asshole, 100%. You need a quiet, private environment? Then go to one. And yeah, I see where that's coming from too. You went to a public restaurant where someone's job is literally to go to your table through their time there. Well, yeah. You sound terrible to interact with. I doubt he complained to his manager. Manager likely asked why he was avoiding the rude people at the table, as is his job to do so with the tables. And the way you call him an annoying pest, have some time to reflect. You are an annoying person who chose a public restaurant. You need a quiet, private space. Yeah, well, a serious matter like that, have a dinner at home in a quiet space. You can have your own, table set up and have a similar setup to a restaurant, with a table, some plates and stuff. But you don't get the interruptions of a waiter because you're the waiter. You're good. You get things the way you want them that way. um, yeah, I actually see where both sides can be a little bit pushy, but I do think that yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna go with this person. The poster is a bit of an a-hole. Yeah, see where they come from. I'm gonna go on to the last one. I think I'm on to now, so I'm going to do that. I'm gonna find a good one to end on. Okay, this one's has a funny title. Am I the asshole for wearing short shorts to the gym, even after being asked to stop? Who likes short shorts? I like short shorts. I'm sorry, I had to do that. That was stupid. So I'm a big guy. Uh, so am I, big guy. I work out daily. Okay, different big guy. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just obese. I go to 3 gyms regularly. I wear and have worn what we lovingly call Ranger panties. They are our short shorts. Think Magnum PI. I usually get attention for this, but it's usually just old men that roll their eyes. Occasionally, a woman stare. Nothing out of control. I've been doing it for years. Recently, a woman joined my gym that seems obsessed with my legs. She will walk over every time she sees me. Well, her husband came the other day. He proceeded to have a mental breakdown over his wife talking to me. He came over and asked if I thought my shorts were appropriate. I responded by asking him not to objectify me for being beautiful. Oh, a little bit of, ooh, a little bit boldness there from both sides, which made him very mad. Staff got involved and asked me to cover up for a little while. I said sure. So the next day I came in smaller shorts, but with a long sleeve shirt. He was with her and lost his mind. When staff came again to talk to me, I said I had been working out like this here for years. I've also seen women wear a hell of a lot less, so I would not be changing anytime soon, which they just shrugged at. So Reddit, am I the asshole? No. No, I just see a good petty revenge thing going on here, and I'm all for it. So I'm gonna say not the asshole. You dress how you want with that. uh, I see not the asshole listed here. Here's a good point brought up. Next time they bother you about it, ask them for a copy of the dress code and the contact thing that you signed when you joined so that they can review it together to fully understand what the policy says. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good back and forth. I like the petty revenge aspect. Well, that'll wrap up this video of the podcast. Volume 2, going through Reddit. So, hope you all enjoyed this. This is going to be a podcast series that I'm going to do for a while on the Just for Fun podcast. Because I'm trying something different with a podcasting. I have this nice microphone here that I've used in other projects, and I think it'd be nice to try out for podcasting. Yeah. Thanks for watching this episode, and have a great day. Make sure to subscribe if you like this stuff. Bye.